And also on the show today, we're going to bring you the news of another S-400 that has been delivered. The long pending, after much delay, the Sky Fortress that India needs boost for, as it was a part of a very important part of Operation Sindoor, has been now delivered. And also we tell you about why India is arming Armenia. How does it counter Turkey and Pakistan? Tell you all that on in this edition of Republic Defense. Home Minister Amit Shah has been on visits to different borders. This week he has visited Tripura, reviewing the India-Bangladesh border as well. And this is not an isolated visit, as I told you. It's been a series of several such tours on the borders of India. This, as India rapidly ramps up border security, not just against terrorism, but also against illegal infiltration. That, of course, is also connected. So aiming to achieve impregnable border, India is quickly developing a security grid under the Smart Border Initiative. Now, this involves major reforms in the frontline warriors, the BSF, and also the training the border residents also. India is now going towards a holistic approach, a territorial approach, viewers. So first, let's see. These are the borders that have been on the focus of the Home Minister's tour of border security review. So 5th of June, this was Tripura, and it's very, very important because Tripura has borders with Bangladesh. So northeast have been very, very important. Remember, Myanmar is also there. Assam, Indo-Bangladesh border, again very important. And we've seen even in the polls, the infiltration issue has been top of the agenda of the ruling government and the ruling party. Haraminala Creek in Gujarat, that's very near to Sir Creek also, as India has been warning Pakistan of any misadventure also, because Sir Creek is actually the medium where India can attack Pakistan if there is any such misstep from the rival country. So this was reviewed by the Home Minister along with the Rajasthan border as well. He has inaugurated the BSF posts. He has in fact checked out all the BSF posts here as well in Bikaner, which has an India-Pakistan border. A lot of drug smuggling also via drone that has been happening. So Smart Border Initiative has also been announced. Listen in to the Home Minister.
बॉर्डर का निर्माण करना और एक चतुष्कोणीय सुरक्षा रणनीति के तहत स्थानीय प्रशासन को साथ में लेते हुए, टेक्नोलॉजी को साथ में लेते हुए, हम आपके परिश्रम को साथ में लेते हुए सीमाओं को एकदम अभेद बनाना और इस स्मार्ट बॉर्डर का कंसेप्ट फाइनलाइजेशन के स्टेज पर है.
And in fact, viewers, we continue with more updates coming in on this story. We also have our expert joining us on the broadcast, former DIG BSF, NND Dubey, joining us on the broadcast. And while we connect with our guests, we just bring you what is the Smart Border Project. The AI-powered surveillance will be an important part of this project. AI cameras and sensors to be installed along the borders, radar and detection systems, thermal radars and laser alarms also to be installed. Anti-drone technology, drone detection radars and RF jammers are very, very important so as to prevent smuggling as well. Riverine and gap security is important. Deployment of the sonar technology will be part of this project. Smart fencing as well. Sensor embedded, laser assisted wires. This is modernization of the entire doctrine, viewers, of India's border security. And we also bring you more angles to this as far as our border security doctrine is concerned. It's also about the 4 pillars who are in focus, viewers. The frontline warriors are border security force, the first line of defense is the BSF. Their role is also being expanded here. Indian Army, of course, deeper territorial defense. And the BSF's area of operation will also change. Civil administration groups will be also integrated. Local governance and security integration. The local police and other authorities also will be now part of this. Border residents. Home Minister, in fact, has appealed to the residents to be alert and alert the agencies. So human int becomes very, very important. And in fact, let's connect with the former DIG, BSF, Mr. NND Dubey, joining us on the broadcast. Thank you so much, sir, for once again joining us on Public Defense. So you've time and again spoken about the importance of the security of our borders. We've seen that there's a great focus now on Bangladesh border, also now that there's a change in the government in West Bengal also. But how do you see this new border security doctrine with Smart Border Project and also increasing the area of operation for the BSF specifically also?
Rakshita, basically this smart border management doctrine was awaited since very long. Ever since Kargil committee after post-Kargil was constituted, as a result, there was a border management division created in Ministry of Home Affairs to exclusively see the matters connected with the borders of our country. Because the situation has been tremendously changed, there was a time after partition, there was not a physical barrier on our international border. We are the fourth largest land territory holder in the entire world, that too against the adversity of Pakistan. And there is also a larger border with Bangladesh. So there was no fencing, no physical barrier. But terrorism in Punjab and terrorism in Kashmir taught us lesson. You see, you cannot afford to keep these borders simply manned by the foot soldiers. Therefore, the physical barrier in the form of fencing came into existence after a lot of efforts and after a lot of martyrdom. So situation moved and the millennium changed and the entire world faced a very new dimension of terrorism, and India had been on the forefront. So emerging challenges has further taught us lesson. You simply cannot keep the physical barrier like a barbed wire fencing on the international border. And if you see the western borders, there have been another mischief from the Pakistan. They started digging under surface tunneling. And in 2019, they further went ahead by experimenting first drone maneuver inside the Indian territory. However, it was cited in 2019, but again in 2021, there is a first drone trial attack on Jammu airport. And after 2020, the western border have been facing a very great challenge of the smuggling of the criminal activities across the border by using drones. So drone has become a very big challenge on the western frontier. Now we talk about the eastern frontier. Eastern frontier has been facing phenomenal infiltration problem right from beginning. And this infiltration problem has accumulated additional liability on our country's resources. And the central government have been fighting since decades to sort out this problem. And the eastern border is very, very vichitra. It's a very, very peculiar border. Entire Himalayan river crosses through eastern part of our country and merges inside the Bangladesh. So infiltration and anti-social elements have been a great threat to our country. You take the Myanmar border, which is being guarded by Assam Rifle. It has become the epicenter of narcotics smuggling. So we cannot keep the border security on an ad hoc pedestal just by keeping the foot soldiers. We have to make it a comprehensive border management by integrating various organs of our country. And in this smart border management, the Honorable Home Minister has decided and he has brought the doctrine of making a complete border management by integrating the manpower, that is a border security force and other border guarding forces, along with the local police of the concerned state. Because as you think on our western border also, until unless the local police will become integral part of the entire border management, there will always be a gap and lack of responsibility. And the third tier he has mentioned about the participation of the local administration, because everything happening on the border, the local administration is the first entity which is coming to know about it, like demographical changes, population disbalances, crossing, infiltration, any antisocial activities are being first felt by the local police. And the fourth and very important partner is local population, because border management is not just to guarding a physical line on the international
Right,
border,
sir.
it has got a total integration of the local population also. So, and again, if you go for the smart defense, that means there are 4-layered defense which has been envisaged by the Union Home Minister. The first line is physical fencing barrier, which is already existing there, but on eastern frontier, almost 900-kilometer land border is still unfenced, and these steps have been taken how to cover these things. There are many places which are non-feasible gaps. Even you cannot put the barbed wire fencing in those areas. You have to cover it technologically. So first thing is the physical barrier, that is the barbed wire fencing. It is being converted into smart fencing against anti-cut, anti-climbing, anti-rust, because the conventional fencing has been facing a very big problem from the anti-social element who used to cut the fence and created gaps.
It's of course very, very important. It's high time that the security grid is getting a review. That's very, very important. But many thanks, Mr. N.D. Dubey, for joining us with your insights and your thoughts on this big development coming in from the different frontiers of the country. And viewers, in fact, now we shift our focus now to the offer from Putin, a new offer, renewing the Su-57 offer, viewers. So this has been in the works for years now, viewers. And Putin, in the latest, has made a statement. He has now pushed for co-production of Su-57. Very importantly, he has mentioned that they want to have this project with India, build it with India, without any restrictions. He could be possibly hinting towards sharing the technology as well, is what we now understand, viewers. And India, in fact, had locked the deal with Russia. India not locking the deal with Russia in 2018. Putin now again tries to, of course, renew the offer and say that Russia was ready to sell and co-produce. That's very, very important. Now, what exactly has he said? Let's listen in first. All right, so what is the Su-57, viewers? Let's just bring you a lowdown on that. Why, what are the features and what makes it special or not so special? Well, it is equipped with the air-to-air missiles, and it is, of course, it boasts of 5th gen or cell technology, but India has not really been convinced as far as the stealth or the stealthness of the Su-57 is concerned. So a big question remains, will India now consider? Because there is, as far as India is concerned, there is delay. As far as the Tejas is concerned, India has struck the Rafale deal also. But India is right now in need of fighter jets. Talking about 2018, viewers, why did not happen? Why India rejected Su-57? Because it did not meet the 5th gen fighter requirement. Right now, Putin is saying that it's the world's best fighter jet. Of course, he is trying to hard sell that. But there were concerns, as I said, about stealth capability, and it has unproven combat strength, the Su-57. Russia has been reluctant to transfer the technology know-how, as we've seen in the case of US also when it comes to the F-35. Now, there are concerns over the supply chain also, and already we see that after years of delay, the final squadron of the final delivery of S-400 has also been done. And viewers, that of course has been cause of concern. We are being joined by former officer of the Indian Air Force, Air Marshal. We have Air Marshal Kapoor joining us on the broadcast for more on this. Air Marshal Kapoor, if you can hear me, we can just go across the state to him, please. We don't have much of time. Air Marshal Kapoor, what do you think of the latest offer that has been put up by Mr. Putin? Sir, do you think that India should be considering the Sukhoi 57, or because the AMCA is going to take a lot of time. We do have the Rafales also. The deal with Rafale is also has been one of the biggest deals. So do you feel that Su-57 is something that India will consider right now?
So, firstly, thanks for having me on the show. And very few quick points. First, does India need a fifth-generation fighter? Yes, it does. Why does it need a fifth-generation fighter? We have seen the recent conflicts across the world, and we've seen the importance of a stealth platform or a low observable aircraft to counter the integrated air defense systems, which is multi-layered. We have seen that India is slowly building up the Rafales to get the 4.5 generation, but both are neighbors, Pakistan as well as China. Pakistan is collaborating with Turkey for its Khan and is in talks with China for the J-35. China already has about 1,000, close to 750 to 800 fifth-generation aircraft. It is developing sixth-generation fighters, and by 2030, it is likely to have 1,500 fifth and sixth-generation fighters. And so, if our neighborhood is getting the capability, it is very, very important that we have this capability. What we saw during Iran war was, we saw one F-35 was engaged by the air defenses of Iran. And it was basically a manpad or a surface-to-air passively guided missile which hit the F-35. So if F-35 without its best technology in terms of stealth could be engaged, the Su-57 presently does not have the same kind of IR suppression, that is infrared or the heat signature suppression, because of its engine. Its engine is still a fourth generation engine. And so till the AL-51 does not come, it does not become a truly fifth generation platform. Both we saw F-35 and Su-57 during the Aero India in 2025, and everybody was impressed with the Su-57. Basically because it performed, it turned well, it did a lot of maneuvers. But remember, fifth generation fighter combat is not about close combat dogfights. It is who sees first, who hits first. And so I think what Russia has been trying to do is it is trying to hard sell the Su-57 from which India had withdrawn in 2018. And so in whatever we say, India does need a fifth generation fighter. What choices do we have? Our choice was either a F-35, which US wants to sell, and a Su-57. So F-35 is under the normal or the present circumstances looks highly unlikely with the kind of pressure that the US defense industry is already under. And it is delaying deliveries to everybody, all its allies. So I don't think F-35 is likely to get in. So what is left is Su-57. The only point is we should, in case India does need a fifth generation fighter. So we must look at a stopgap arrangement, because what we have seen is AMCA has been shortlisted. Three vendors have been shortlisted for AMCA. All three are private. They don't have any kind of experience in manufacturing, developing and manufacturing a fighter aircraft. And so with the kind of delays we have already faced on LCA Mark 1A, we should be a little cautious about it. And a fifth generation platform, if it meets India's requirement, what it must meet is the technological requirement. And most importantly, today's wars are no more a single service war. It is a multi-domain operation where everything has to network. And so if India's fleets have to network and talk to each other, the Su-57 must be in the mix to talk to a Rafale, must be in a mix to talk to the Mirage 2000, must be in the mix to talk to the Su-30, which is being upgraded. And if all these factors do meet, then I think there is no harm in going for a Su-57, because India does need it before 2030. That is what we must go in for.
Absolutely. Appreciate you joining us here, Marshal Kapoor. Thank you so much for your insights and your thoughts on this story. In fact, now we have another story that we are picking up, and very important geostrategically also. It marks a significant boost to the long-range defense capabilities because India has received the 4th squadron of Russian-made S-400 air defense system, and this is the same S-400 that formed the area Sudarshan Chakra, India's sky fortress that rattled Pakistan and it protected us also during Operation Sindoor, and it sets the global record for the target range when we hit Pakistan. The first 3 squadrons had been delivered earlier as part of the 2018 deal, while the last 2 had been delayed due to the Russia-Ukraine conflict. And now India has got finally the 4th squadron. 5th is expected soon. There have been talks between New Delhi and Moscow, of course, for a greater deal as far as the S-400 and maybe even the S-500 is concerned. So that, of course, becomes very, very important for India's air shield also. So, viewers, S-400, of course, is very, very important as far as its features are concerned. It fires 4 different types of missiles also. So it is something that would be helping in a greater war also. This was a limited war, if we talk about Operation Sindoor, but it is something that has the capability to, in fact, have a layered defense with interceptor missiles as well. And it has all-in-one defense against planes, drones, and cruise missiles also. Let's shift our focus now, viewers, to the other story that we're tracking for you. And this is coming in from the Asia-Europe belt. Displayed Indian weaponry, win for India's defense. And in fact, Republic Day Parade of Armenia. It displayed Indian weaponry, a win for India's defense, viewers. Now, you can say that's a smaller country, but it's important for India as far as India's defense ties, India as a production for defense weapons, manufacturing defense is concerned, but also it has a strategic message also. Now, from Akash air defense system to Pinaka rocket launcher, the ATACMS artillery gun, the Swati radar, all were part of this mega defense display, weapons that were ordered from India. Now, the diplomacy behind arming Armenia is, viewers, the countering of the Pak-Turkey nexus. So let's understand this more through the graphics we're going to play out for you, viewers. Now, why India is actually arming Armenia. Azerbaijan is what Armenia consider its rival. Azerbaijan is also the one country which openly supported Pakistan during Operation Sindoor. It's supported by Pakistan and Turkey also. Azerbaijan backed Pakistan during Operation Sindoor as well, as I just said. Azerbaijan, the spelling is wrong, I beg your pardon. Azerbaijan, Armenia, decades-long conflict. And so ordering weapons from India, of course, has rattled Pakistan and Turkey also. Turkey has supplied drones and on-ground support to Pakistan during Operation Sindoor also. India has been also boosting its ties with Cyprus. Again, it needles Turkey. And Armenia what we are seeing is that our defense ties are closer than ever before, and we are the biggest suppliers for Armenia. So this is, of course, a very, very important, geopolitical messaging, strategic messaging from New Delhi to the world and to its rivals, to anyone who even thinks of any misadventure or supports any misadventure against the country. With that, viewers, the wrap on this edition of Republic Defense. Thank you so much for watching. Jai Hind.
चमकी चाट से